What an exciting night here at the Golden One Center. The Kings are back home. The postseason is within sight. They've clinched a play-in spot. They're trying to nail down a home play-in game. And tonight, an extra special night because Kyle Draper has the call. And who's this kid that's going to be you're going to be breaking in?
Well, that's a good question because he's from French Lick, Indiana, and Larry Bird is called the Hick from French Lick. I don't know what to call Jerry Reynolds tonight. I got to give him a nickname. I don't know if he has a nickname. Jerry Reynolds, the great Jerry Reynolds, joining the drive, guys. Jerry, how should I refer to you tonight? I can't say the Hick from French Lick.
Well, I'm a bigger hick than Bird ever was. It's just I'm not necessarily proud of it, just a fact. So he lived in town. He grew up in town. I grew up at Rural Route 1. So, I mean, he didn't really understand the country life.
Jerry, we're very excited that you're going to be back on TV tonight. And I got to ask you, between you and I, working with Kyle Draper tonight, when they asked you about this, did that make you more or less likely to accept knowing that you'd be sitting next to Draper?
I said that's the only way I'll do it. No Draper, no Jerry.
Okay.
I mean, hey,
how about
I got to have the varsity. I got to have the varsity working with me.
Oh man, this is and Jerry. Just so you know, buttering up to me won't get you more airtime tonight. I won't let you, go on and on. Like you don't get paid per word tonight. So
hey, that's okay. To tell you the truth, that's good because I might wear out about the second quarter.
As far as the basketball end of it, Jerry, what we've seen from the Kings the last 3 games, how much of that do you think might be repeatable for them?
I think there's a chance, I mean, really, they played when you beat 2 really good teams like they did, and they beat them. You got to say, well, there's something there. I do think Coach Christie's, made some adjustments and getting better performances, obviously, from, Zach LaVine, and that's such a key. Domas is starting to look like himself. I think he and Zach are getting a comfort zone. And, and DeMar's DeMar. He's going to find a way to be productive about every night.
Jerry Reynolds joining us. Jerry, the Kings are playing extremely well right now. You just talked about, DeMar cooking. Conversely, Denver's coming in. They've lost 4 in a row. They fired Michael Malone. Obviously, Michael from his time here as well. What are you expecting from the Nuggets in their first game? They're reeling right now. They fired their coach. What are you expecting from them tonight?
Well, I'm not sure what to expect. Sometimes a change, will immediately have a little boost. The fact that if Murray can't play, that they're a thin team anyway. And so I'm hoping that bodes well for the Kings. I mean, David Adelman, I know, is a bright young man. I've known him for a while. And, obviously worked for Coach Malone for a long time, who's an outstanding coach. Why they fired him is only still a minor miracle of thought. I don't know how they came up with that, but I mean, I know he'll do a good job. When you're son of Rick Adelman and you work for Coach Malone, I think you've had pretty good training.
Yeah, Jerry, tell us more if you would about Coach Adelman's son here. It's so strange in a way. I mean, it's cool, but you got Doug Christie coaching tonight against the son of his former coach. Are there ways in which he's similar to Coach Adelman, Rick, as a coach? Or, I mean, what impresses you about the guy that you've known for so long?
Well, I will say this. He's a lot more personable. So start there. I always told Rick, I said, your son's got a personality. I don't know how that'll work. But he, he's very, very bright, and obviously just growing up around basketball and played, different levels. And so, I don't think there's now, having said all that, my feeling is, sadly, I don't know that he's going to really be given a legitimate chance, and sort of winning the world championship. It sounds like to me they've got, when you fire the GM too and the coach, you probably got something in mind.
Hey, Jerry, staying with this Nuggets team, I look at, how great Jokic is. and he's going to be a handful tonight, no doubt about it. And we'll get into this on the broadcast, I'm sure, later tonight. What do you think of where he stands among all-time great big men? And, no slight to anybody, but, Bill Russell was great. Wilt, Kareem, like, those are my guys, Is Jokic in that category yet?
I think he is. He's so different. Obviously he can't rebound and defend like Russ, but then Russ couldn't shoot like he can or pass like he can. And, and Chamberlain, I still think Chamberlain's the greatest, just in the stats would kind of back that up, and people say, well, he didn't win as much. Well, yeah, it's a team game. And that same goes for Jokic. Jordan wouldn't have won too many championships without Pippen. And so there's that. But I definitely, when you start talking about the greatest centers of all time, you better not go much deeper than top 5. I mean, he's got to be in there.
Wow. Yeah, Jerry Reynolds with us. Jerry, he's next to Kyle tonight.
Yeah.
Call here for Kings and the Nuggets. Getting back to the Kings, Jerry, I know we have talked a lot in recent weeks about the fit of this roster and how in some ways it seems like such an awkward fit. But as you said, they're playing so well right now. To me, it's very significant that in the last 3 wins, you've had Domas and Levine and DeMar. They've all had big games in the same game, 3 games in a row. How good of an indication is that maybe they are figuring some things out?
Well, I think it is a great indicator. Exactly that. And you need those guys to be productive. They don't necessarily have to put up the numbers, that we saw the other night. But I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, they've got to be productive, which means if DeRozan gets 20 points on 15 shots, that's good enough. He doesn't have to get 35, but he's got to be productive. And I think with the current lineup, I mean, it's thin with whether Monk is able to go or Jake. I mean, they're definitely thin, but I mean, Keon Ellis is a perfect fit in there because he could play 10 minutes without shooting. It doesn't affect his game. Keegan's a little bit like that. Now those other 3, they kind of need to feel some leather on a regular basis.
Hey Jerry, that brings up a great point because no Keegan tonight, no Malik, no Jake. All 3 could. The way we're seeing Zach and DeMar and Domas, is that a byproduct of us actually being shorthanded? Could it have been a good thing that we've had these injuries and now we've sort of established a pecking order and who we are identity-wise, especially offensively?
I think there's some truth in that. I mean, the important thing is that, they knew you had to play them huge minutes, and, of course, they were all really good. The downside is if one of them's really playing poorly, who do you go to? I mean, that's where the thin bench gets into it, which they currently are right now. But it's very true, that with the thin roster as it was, those 3 guys had to play huge minutes, and fortunately they were all terrific.
Jerry, tonight, as I was thinking about it, is this the first game you've done since you did a remote broadcast during the pandemic? Didn't you do you were the analyst, but on a remote one time during the pandemic for the Kings?
Yeah, I did 2 with Mark Jones, and Katie had some illness, and so and I was remote. I was in the studio in San Francisco, and Mark, I think it was Philly and Washington, maybe, I can't remember. It's such a exciting broadcast, but I mean, it's hard to do, man. I don't know how to beat at night. I think the main thing I'll be focused on is make sure I know where the restroom is. But
Jerry, I'm not even going to touch that one. All I know is if I see you get up and run out, I'll know why.
Every man in the building that's over 60 will understand completely.
Oh man, Jerry Reynolds joining us. Jerry, when you look at where this team is, and it's been a roller coaster. We understand that. We've seen this team put together a few games of great basketball. Now we're playing 3 games in a row. Is what we've seen the last 3 games, is that believable? Has that made you a believer that, they can make some noise in this play-in that's upcoming and get to the playoffs?
I don't think I'm a believer yet. I kind of want to see a little more of it, I know that may be the old curmudgeon in me sneaking out there, but, I've been to the county fair before and been disappointed. So I think we all as fans, and that's what I am now, want to see a little more consistent excellence that we saw these last 2.
We'll let you go, Coach, but I do want to ask you real quickly before we do. I wouldn't ask you what they are, but is there a chance we'll have any new nicknames tonight? Is that a possibility?
I don't have a clue right now. If they pop out, they pop out, and Kyle may have to reach over there and pop me, and say, but we'll just see. I'm not preparing anything. Let's put it that way. I mean, although having said that, I've been up since 1:00 this morning, just focusing and preparing and studying. If you believe that,
I don't know if you believe that, I set the over/under on 8.5 minutes.
If you believe that, I got some farmland in French Lick. I'll sell you.
All right, Jerry, I'm looking forward to it tonight, man. Can't wait.
I am too. We'll just give them what we got. That's all we can do.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you in a bit. Thanks again. Have
fun
guys. Tonight.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, the great one, Jerry Reynolds, returning to the airwaves tonight. He'll be Kyle Draper's analyst. Right. What a tandem this is.
This is going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
He knows you too well.
Right.
Oh, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for Draper.
Yeah, that's my guy. I appreciate that, man. He's going to make it easy for me, too. I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to take a look at Luka's ejection last night and maybe even hear that Laker announcer, speaking of announcing, who went nuts last night after that ejection. Next, Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
Coach Doug Christie here for your